Hey guys, Justin from Compartments here. This is going to be a quick video on my personal car bag. There's a lot of reasons why I have this car bag built. Day-to-day roadside emergencies, natural disasters, civil unrest. A lot of civil unrest going on in the country right now, and you can easily find yourself in a situation where you are just driving along in your daily life and you stumble upon civil unrest as it breaks out. Okay, plenty of motorists in Los Angeles found that out about a week ago. So this bag is designed to roughly handle all of those situations, but not entirely and not for a long period of time, just enough to break contact and or to get additional help. Let's go ahead and dive into it. All right, so let's get started with the outside of the bag. I know everybody's gonna ask, so let's just get right to it. The model of this bag that I use is called the Big Haul 60 for my particular car bag. I used to have a truck, now I have a car, so it's car bag. It is the Big Haul 60 from REI. For those of y'all that need a larger bag, REI does make a bigger model. We'll go ahead and link to this in the show notes below, since we know we're gonna get a lot of questions about that. Okay, so what is in this Big Haul 60? Okay, so I keep it cinched like this all the time so that I can grab it and go. I keep a quick little reflective strip on the outside. This is not for external navigation. As silly as this sounds, as I get older, this is to make the bag easier to find when I'm inside the vehicle at night, or for my wife to find it or anybody else that happens to be riding with me. It's just for internal navigation only. It's very, very simple. Don't read too much into it. Okay, on the outside here, we have this pocket, this outside pocket. I keep some quick grab and go items, so electrical tape, a chem light. We're gonna just try to fly through this. You guys can throw the questions below and we can get to them later. An ice scraper. This isn't a particularly big ice scraper. It's actually quite puny, but to be honest, we don't get a ton of snow in Knoxville. We get snow maybe once a year, and it's not really that big of a deal. Maybe it shuts us down for a day, but like small snow scraper is fine, given that you're not using it 364 days out of the year. And then we have a tie-down strap. You can never have enough tie-down straps. Super important. Leatherman Skeletool, also super useful. I don't have to tell you guys what Leathermans are used for. Also, totally underrated, PPE. PPE does not have to be a Seaburn suit. PPE is as simple as foamy Pro. These things are super handy for a million reasons. I don't have to get into that, but you always need to have some mechanism to protect your senses, because once these things go, you never get it back. And that's all we've got on the outside pocket. Okay, so diving into the inside, and again, this thing is heavy. Okay, this ice flask here on the outside is what I'm drinking from during this video, so just ignore it. It's not actually part of my bag, although we'll get to ice flask. We'll get to hydration inside the bag. This particular one is just for me drinking for this video. All right, here in the top, we're gonna go ahead and start with these top compartments. Okay, in the top, I have more PPE. Okay, these are kind of like fashion sunglasses, which is kind of lame. And they're in this really cool limited edition Major League Baseball Oakley micro clear bag. Now, the reason I have these here is not because you would count on, you know, lifestyle sunglasses to actually be super useful in a tactical scenario. I use that word very, very loosely and with great hesitation. But because they were extra, I used to work at Oakley, so I got these for free as part of some sample program at some point, and they were just kind of extra. So in the event that I'm really down on my luck and I don't have any other way to protect my eyes, these are here, and this Major League Baseball thing was just available. So again, don't read too much into that. I have more PPE, more new in wrapper foam ear pro. Again, I'm a huge believer, you just cannot have enough of these things. And also, if you have a full car, you got 5 people and somehow you get into a jam, you gotta be ready for that. Okay, more PPE, nitrile gloves, and that concludes the first of the small interior pockets. Okay, so now for the large interior pocket, we'll go ahead and slide this over a little bit. Okay, this is stuff that I'm not gonna get to quite as frequently, even as the stuff in here, and definitely not as frequently as the stuff on this outside pocket. Okay, so here we've got a bungee. Okay, we've got a roll, a length of 550 cord, with a couple of D-rings. These are not load bearing, they're not designed to be. These are just designed to keep my 550 cord organized. Okay, little EG flash grenade. Road flares should be very obvious to everybody what you would need road flares for. And then a couple of breach pens. You just never know when you might come across a gate or something that needs to be defeated. That's what these are for. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put these things back real quick so that y'all can see how I try to keep this thing packed and organized. Okay. All right, moving into the main compartment. Okay, before we get too deep into this, all right, first things first, I do keep, this is the default breathing apparatus or filtering mechanism for the bag, okay? Yes, it's just a simple painting mask that I bought at Home Depot. I think it was 70 bucks. It's obviously not gonna stop tear gas or anything like that because that gets to your eyes and your mucous membranes. This is really for things like dust or other chemicals that, or irritants, I should say, not chemicals, irritants that don't affect your mucous membranes but do affect your respiratory pathways. And the reason why I keep this in here is that the storage temperature is actually pretty high. Okay, now, since I know everybody is going to ask, yes, of course, I own one of these. I own a couple of them. And I don't keep it in the car bag for several reasons. It doesn't mean that I won't. The number one reason is it has a maximum storage temperature of about 120 degrees Fahrenheit, which sounds much higher than any of us would probably encounter, except that you're forgetting that this stays in the car, which easily can exceed 122 degrees Fahrenheit, even though I have really high-end Formula One tint. I have a tinted front windshield, not darkly tinted, but it is UV tinted, and UV reflective tint on the front windshield, which is legal in Tennessee. And I also have the car PPF'd, and I use sun shields. I do everything to keep heat out of the car. The car still exceeds 122 degrees Fahrenheit pretty regularly in the summertime, so I don't keep my Avon and the storage container, the filters in there for that exact reason. Now, times like this, where you see a little bit of civil unrest popping up in places like Los Angeles, yes, I do swap this out for this, and I keep a much closer eye on my car temperature when I'm going to have this in there. But I'd love to know, would you guys keep your Avon or your higher end, full gas mask, your C50 in this case, in your car bag and forget the storage temperatures and just have to remember it? Or, would you just leave one of these things in here all the time? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Okay, moving on from that, yes, so irritant filtration. Okay, this is basics. Remember that this is not designed as some anti-terrorist kit or some nonsense like that. This is designed for practical everyday emergencies to include, some type of civil unrest situation. That also includes natural disasters. Okay, so we have a couple of space blankets, and then we'll just go kind of my left to right here, okay? So we have some snivel gear. So I'll open this up real quick, but it's basically just I think this is a Beyond soft shell jacket that is insulated, so keep it in here just in case I need more cold weather gear. Fix-a-flat kit, super useful. Again, we're going for practical everyday concerns. Okay, this, so obviously this is a chemical agent. These are practical everyday concerns in today's real world. Okay, so keep that locked and secured in here. Binoculars, long range observation. It's super old school basic ISR. You can never have good enough long range vision if you can help it. And then now, super practical everyday stuff. So this is a battery charger. I have a note in my calendar to monitor the charge of this thing every month, okay? I don't remember the model name of this thing. It's Boost, let's see here, Noco Boost Plus, for those of you who want to know. We as a company have no affiliation with these guys. It was my wife got us these things for Christmas a few years ago, and they've actually proven to be incredibly handy. Jumper cables. I shouldn't have to go to jumper cables. This is a Gerber e-tool spade. Also very, very handy. Okay, so if you guys are asking why, it's great in wintertime. It has a lot of other uses, but I've actually used this a number of times, even in cities, to break up ice around tires and dislodge cars and get them free from overnight freeze situations. So super, super helpful. Also helpful if you find yourself in mud or stuff like that. Not super, super watery, but just loose packed dirt, etc. But very, very useful. Heavy, but useful. This might be one of the most underrated pieces of kit in this entire bag. So this is a tire inflation kit. It plugs into your DC outlet in your vehicle, and then here's a tire pressure gauge. Okay, I go for manual. I don't like the digital ones, even though this air compressor does have a digital gauge on top. I don't really trust the digital gauges. I always have some type of analog solution. So that's what this is for. Reason being, if you guys are not checking your tire pressure on a regular basis, you need to be, because it's like one of the most important things in fuel economy, wear and tear, safety in your vehicle. Okay, now getting to hydration. As you guys saw, this ice plate has been in here the whole time, and this is one of the many cool uses of ice plate that is not in a plate carrier or a vest. The ice plate, as you can see, it just kind of slid nicely in the side here. It and it hid essentially 1.5 liters or 1,500 milliliters, 50 ounces of hydration in long-term storage. I do have to set a calendar reminder to change this water out about every 60 to 90 days. I can't remember what I have it set at. I think I change this water out every 60 days, and it's just fine. You can also put tablets in there if you want to extend the storage life, but calendar reminders are a great thing. It also keeps you in your kit pretty frequently to make sure everything is good to go. But this ice plate curve just slides in nicely in kind of like dead negative space, and there's really no other way to store water this efficiently. And it's something where you'll actually have some hard side impact protection right on the outside of the bag because of it, which is super, super handy. So it can do things like protecting more sensitive items, and you still get 1.5 liters of hydration. To back that up, or actually I use the ice plate to fill the ice flasks, which I have on the side. Again, also kind of fitting nicely into negative spaces, you guys can see on the side. So this one's for, one of these is for me, one of these is for my wife, and then I've got this one to refill the ice flasks. And is it, enough water to sustain 2 people for a week? Obviously not, but we're talking about, basically a 24-hour or less emergency, something basically just to get to safety. So that's why I like to keep those there. We have some Gorilla Tape, should be self-explanatory. Okay, rags, because you can never have enough rags. My lovely wife was all about us making sure that our kits were practical, and so we had things to be able to do basic stuff. Terry cloth towels are one of those things. Okay, another pair of iPro. This one is just an old pair of Spies that I had from, I think, big shout out to Mark Van Buskirk at Spy for hooking up these many years ago when we worked together on a different project. These were just available. So again, backup. These are designed to supplement my EDC ones that are already on my person or in my car every day. Okay, this is a bunch of meals. This is basically civilian MREs, but I stripped them down. Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's hear it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here, and they are stored in this neat little cooler bag. So in case I have to have something that's temperature sensitive, I have some means of protecting something from outside temperature with an insulated bag. Exactly what that would be, I have no idea. But I needed some way to organize these MREs, and I have also learned that having insulated mechanisms or storage mediums with you is just handy sometimes, and you just never know why. Okay, this was my old department issued IFAC. They don't want these things back. They had us keep these things because we kind of had obliterated them by the time that you're kind of done and you would turn these things back in. So pen, fat Sharpie, obvious reasons for both. And then inside, it's exactly the same as when the department issued it to us. My old department issued it to us. The only difference is that I added a cat tourniquet, and then I added basic Band-Aids. Again, you know, these things are great for serious emergencies, but for day-to-day, you also need the kit to be practical for day-to-day. And Band-Aids are one of those things that are practical for every day. You actually use them way, way, way more often than you can use a lot of the other stuff in there, hopefully. So, IFAC. Okay, and now we'll get to the thing that probably everybody wants to see, which is how do you protect yourself, okay? So this is my particular choice. This is a Timbuktu sling carry that I got, I think, at Goodwill or Carm stores or something like that. I don't remember, I bought it years and years ago. And it just happens to be a perfect fit for a Kel-Tec sub 2K Glock magazine variety. And then I keep 4 additional 33 round Glock sticks in here. I have a 21 round Magpul as the default. And then I have a OSS Rad 45 in here. Now I know what a lot of people are thinking, okay, I'm gonna get a lot of comments about why would you get a Kel-Tec sub 2K, that's so stupid, that gun sucks. And everybody is obviously entitled to their opinions, okay? So I'll go ahead and give you the philosophy of use. The Kel-Tec S2K is crazy compact. Obviously it folds down and fits into this bag perfectly, okay? It's also not particularly expensive. When I bought this gun, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, something like that, maybe even 8, I have no idea. But I've had it a long time. I put thousands of rounds through this thing. It's crazy reliable. The most important thing to me though was that it is interoperable with my EDC gun because it takes Glock mags. And I got the Glock 19 one so that I can put Glock 17 or Glock 19 mags in addition to the 33 round sticks. So it's just incredibly, incredibly useful. And then though there's gonna be a lot of people out there that say, oh, but 9mm doesn't have the stopping power of a rifle. Yeah, it doesn't until you put it into a 16-inch barrel. And yeah, it's not the same as shooting 5.56 or 7.62, but you'd be amazed at what some additional length will do for your power. Yes, go ahead and run with that in the comments. The Kel-Tec sub 2K is fairly reasonable, right? This is a $600 gun, I think, when I bought it, $625-ish gun when I bought it. So way, way, way less of a headache should your car get broken into and this thing gets stolen versus, say, you know, it's basically your Glock getting stolen as opposed to your $2,000 or $3,000 or up AR platform rifle. Yes, I realize I also have a controlled tax stamp thing in here, but hopefully that's not controlled for very much longer, and then this is really just not a big deal because it shouldn't be. So that is, this Timbuktu is also designed, you know, like one of the reasons I love this setup, and I will never probably go away from it, and the Kel-Tec sub 2K itself, is because this Timbuktu is incredibly, incredibly stealthy, okay? I'm not gonna use some lame term like gray or whatever. Nobody pays attention to this. This just looks like an urban satchel bag that you'd see in any city in the world, which is exactly what I want. Okay, there happens to also be a little bit of extra first aid gear if you need, or medical in here if you need it. But the main focus of this bag, as you can see, is the Kel-Tec sub 2K itself. Okay, so we're just about at 20 minutes, guys. I hope that was really, really helpful. We'd love to know what you think about the chemical irritants, your gas mask. You know, would you just keep the $70 Home Depot variety in there for temperature storage, theft risk, etc.? Or would you go ahead and keep your full Avon or Mira system in there every day for maximum protection for all scenarios and maximum optionality? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll catch you guys next time. Stay frosty.